Hey, this is Ish, and today I want to talk to you about how to find the right meditation style for you by understanding the masculine and the feminine. So, this talk might be a little bit metaphysical, but I want you to keep an open mind if you're not used to it, and you'll find a lot of practical takeaways by the end of this talk. So, just a brief overview when we look at the masculine. Masculine energy tends to find fulfillment through freedom, through breaking through resistance, and then emerging through freedom. So if we think of a stereotypically masculine image, such as an American football player, they're running down the field and they have opposition and resistance, other players trying to tackle them down. And once they break through that resistance and go to the end zone, they finally and score a touchdown, they experience that freedom of letting go. So that's typically a very masculine sport and imagery, just for you to understand. And then if we look at the feminine, we can look at a dancer, for example, someone who goes with the flow of energy and really feels life. So a feminine identified person will feel fulfillment through the experience of emotions and feeling the fullness of life. So this is very different from the emptiness the masculine feels. And keep in mind, this isn't relegated to a specific gender, but rather just the energy behind it. And touching upon the feminine further, they want to experience love and emotions and a full range of emotions. So this is typically why many young women like soap operas, because they get to experience a full range of emotions and love and different emotions from that, a full range. And how does this relate to finding your perfect meditation style? Well, if you ever noticed that when you tried a specific meditation style, you didn't necessarily feel right, it just didn't feel right, and you couldn't put a finger on it, but you just told yourself, hey, this isn't right for me. Well, this is because one of the reasons is that different styles of meditation and traditions are rooted in either the masculine or feminine. So when you look at typical masculine spiritual disciplines, they involve a lot of structure and discipline and forms. So, and one example that comes into mind is Zen meditation. It's very structured and formal. If you ever go on YouTube and type in Zen monastery and actually take a look at some of the videos there, you'll find the monks there follow a very strict schedule of waking up at a certain hour, very early by the way, like 4 or 5 a.m. They have a bell every single day, and they are to meditate for a certain period of time, and then after the interval is done, another bell will ring, and they have to line up for food, and it's very structured and organized. And when the monks meditate, they try to find emptiness. That's a very common thing when you associate emptiness with Zen. It's a very masculine spiritual discipline. And you'll also find that the teachers there, the priests, often yell at the monks. They're like, "Get your hands here, get your legs here," kind of like a drill sergeant. And you might think, wow, like how could you could never imagine a yoga class, for example, like a teacher just yelling at the students like that, because yoga nowadays is very much in the feminine. So going over to the feminine, yoga is actually taught by many centuries, taught by men. It's primarily men's spiritual discipline, but over the years, as of recently, it's actually many of the classes nowadays, especially in the West, have been taught primarily by females, and the majority of the classes predominantly females. And this is because the style of yoga has changed a lot, and a lot of vinyasa type of yoga classes are all about the flow of energy and really feeling the emotions in your breath and getting in touch with that. So it's much of a softer touch. And you'll find that if you have more of a feminine essence or resonate more with that kind of style, you'll actually enjoy more of that feminine flow and being in the flow and moving your body and really experiencing everything. So that's quite a different practice from a masculine meditation style such as Zen or even Vipassana, for example, where you're just sitting there focusing on your breath back and forth. It's very structured. And if a thought comes up or a sensation that comes up, you'll just label it and tune it out. So it's very logical in that aspect and very focused and rational. And likewise, the Yoga of flowing is very feminine. Another feminine example would be bhakti or devotion, kirtan, chanting, drum circles. They're all very expressive arts where you're moving your body and really feeling the flow of love and energy. And that's how the feminine would experience that energy and resonate with. And keep in mind, you're not just one or the other. You can resonate with either or, but typically if you lean more strongly into one aspect, you'll find that there are certain practices that will resonate more with you. So just as an experiment, try out different styles of meditation. You can look those up. Zen would be an example of Vipassana. You can look into loving kindness meditation, which would be more feminine. And then, Anapanasana, just focusing on the breath back and forth. There's just so many different types out there, and you can actually take a look and see which one resonates with you. And you can look into your lifestyle choices and what you really like. Are you more of a person that likes the practices of being free and really pushing through resistance until you find that freedom or breakthrough point? Or do you prefer more of that flowing type energy and really feeling everything? So that's just a personal preference. One is not good or bad, but ultimately they both bring you to that same point. A master yogi is very peaceful, very serene, and also a Zen monk is also very peaceful and serene. But two practices get you to the same place, but they're just different methods of getting there. So I ask you and I invite you to experiment and see which spiritual discipline works best for you. Thank you.